there is this constant fear that we find ourselves in. The next day on the calendar, the upcoming work week, the email in your inbox, whatever it might be, the future is hard to predict. But rather than avoid certain elements of the unknown, we should embrace them for what they are. Now, the first point is to take the problem on head on. Now, anxiety, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, is an uncomfortable feeling of nervousness or worry about something that is happening or might happen in the future. But what happens when most people get anxiety? They usually go to this behavior or habit that helps divert their attention from this feeling that they're now experiencing. But by doing this, it's actually a very bad thing to do because it means you aren't confronting the problem. Say you have a disagreement with someone. If you don't bring the issue up to them, you'll just have essentially an emotional tax on yourself. You'll take the damage whilst they'll be unaware that you've even been affected at all. In this scenario, the best thing to do instead of doing phone calls or texting is just meet up with the person face to face. There's no interference. You can fully make use 100% of the communication tools that you have available to you, like eye contact, body language, gestures. Sometimes getting to problems at their source, at their root level, is how you're going to resolve something. And it's usually the thing that you don't want to do. It's usually the thing that is the most uncomfortable, it's the less convenient, but it's going to get the job done. Now, point 2, deal with the problem as quickly as you can. Now, for one of my favorite TV series of all time, Daredevil, it follows a blind lawyer turned superhero who's obviously going through the troubles of having to balance his 2 lives together. In one of the scenes, his mentor Stick is giving him advice when he was a child about how to live his life, especially since he's just recently become blind.
Smart don't come out of books, kid. Smart is making the right decision at the right time. Like now.
Procrastination is something that affects a lot of people. There seems to be this moment of inaction before people decide to take matters into their own hands and get on with it. Especially if you're tired, come home from work and you've got to write that chapter of your book or contact clients about this side business you've got going on. However, there's a feeling of unease that will continue to persist if you ignore the things that you ought to be doing. It's like the unpaid parking ticket on your table. You've just got to get it out the way or it's just going to keep laying there. Like, you've got to deal with it at some point, and if you ignore it, there's going to be a greater fine and a greater consequence as a result, so just get it out the way. Sometimes the best thing to do is just set a timer for a couple minutes. If you get bored, fine, at least you tried. But the thing is, most of the time if you start something, you're more likely to complete it. It's just getting that first step out of the way. Now, the final point, expect things to go wrong. Now, this is a really good quote from Jim Rohn, and I'm going to butcher this completely. I'm remembering it off the top of my head. And it goes along the lines of, there are 9 truly horrible people in the world, but they move around a lot. I think when things tend to go wrong, we form this pity narrative. We think, oh, why me? Why can it happen to someone else? I work with someone and he works a lot of hours, and from working those hours, he makes decent income, but he smokes a lot, he drinks a lot, he has a lot of these issues in his personal life and sometimes at work. But what he does isn't try to resolve how he feels about them. He just dwells on the same 3 or 4 issues that he's had, and that's all he talks about. And he's taking steps in the right direction. He's going to therapy, he's having to sort himself out. And it just goes to show that sometimes it's just, there's only so much pity you can have for yourself before you realize that you're stuck. You've got to dig yourself out of this hole before anything good can happen in your life. And sometimes it comes down to doing the things which are a bit unpopular, the roads that have been less traveled down. Anyway guys, that is it. If you like this, comment, like and subscribe, and I'm sure I'll see you in the next video. And thank you so much for your support. Onwards and upwards, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.